Hey guys, welcome back. I'm Macon Campbell and this is Making Stuff. So today I'm going to try and build a trebuchet. A couple of months ago I saw another YouTuber that I watched, Jonas Olsen, make a trebuchet, and I remember thinking that it would be really nice to try that. I haven't gotten around to it yet, but today is that day. So last night I went ahead and I quickly drew up some rough plans. Now this isn't set in stone. I simply put this together so that I could get my head wrapped around the basic dimensions and the ratios that are needed for this. Now from the little research that I've done, the very basics of a trebuchet are as follows. You have the stand that the arm at the top pivots on, and you have a weight at the back, and what I don't have on this drawing is a sling that comes around the bottom. Now the golden ratio, from what I understand, between the long side of the arm and the short side of the arm should be 3.75 to 1. So in my specific case, using metric, I've made the short arm 100 millimeters and the long arm 3.75. Now obviously you also want to have the height of your trebuchet to be high enough so that when the arm swings around, your weight doesn't hit the bottom of the trebuchet. So if it sounds somewhat like I know what I'm talking about, don't be fooled. I have no idea. I'm just sort of going to take this one step at a time. Now the material thickness that I've based this drawing off of is 20 mil, but that is also not set in stone. I'm going to be making this out of teak simply because I have some teak lying around here. Now the rough thickness of the planks that I have is around 25 millimeters, but I'm going to be planing them and milling them down so that they're nice and square. Whatever thickness I end up with, I'm going to be cutting it into strips of that thickness. So it's going to probably be anywhere between 20 and 25 millimeters. I've gone ahead and I've worked out a rough cutting list of the material that I need. So I'm going to go and grab some teak, square it up, cut out all the lengths that I need, and we can get started.
Oh.
Find you one now. Okay, so before I carry on, there's a change I would like to make. I marked this up quickly with a 1 kilogram weight just so that I could get an idea of how it's going to move. And the first thing that I noticed is that I can go quite a bit longer with this arm. So currently this one is 475 millimeters long. I've got 100 millimeters at the back and 375 in the front. So the new arm, which I've already calculated, is going to be 608 millimeters long, which is going to be 128 at the back and 480 in the front, which still keeps that 3.75 to 1 ratio. Excuse the squeak. Once everything is done, I'll put a bit of oil or wax in here and that should remedy that problem. So I've already filled up all of the gaps. I'm going to leave the final sanding till the end. So now I'm just going to quickly cut a new arm. Then all I need to do is build the bucket for the weights and a sled at the bottom, which the projectile can be dragged across. So let's do it. Okay, so I've run into a problem that I have to fix now. Now, I realized this problem about halfway through the project, but I just kept on moving forward, hoping that I could come up with some kind of solution that would fix the problem. But at this point, I just have no other option but to fix it. Now, the problem is the width of this trebuchet. Now, according to the design that I made, the space between these two pieces was supposed to be 100 millimeters. Now, where the problem came along is when I joined it with these three pieces over here. These two pieces at the end, I cut it 100 millimeters long. So for this to work according to my plan, they were supposed to be joined between these two pieces. The way I ended up joining this together is by cutting a kind of lap joint into this piece. And by doing that, I reduced the space between these two pieces by almost 40 millimeters. Now, as I said, I realized that just after I glued everything up, and to try and fix that, I went ahead and I reduced the thickness of this weight box, hoping that I could still get it to work while not losing too much of the mass and weight of the box. Now, at the moment, it's kind of hit and miss. As I've set it up here, I've only got it halfway filled with weights. Half of the time when I go to fire it, it will work fine, but the other half of the time, the screws and things on the side over here will hit the arms, and obviously reducing a whole lot of the potential energy that this can produce, as you can see there. So it seems I have no choice other than to find some way to expand this whole thing. Now, to save yourself and myself some time, I'm going to go ahead and do that off camera. So once I check back with you, all that's going to be left is finishing this, making and attaching the slings and other hardware that still needs to be made, and we should be done. So see you then. Okay, so it took me like 2 hours, but it's done, and I have to say I'm really happy that I ended up doing this because I'm really liking the look of it now. Now, as you can see, I made a base for it just out of MDF, and I also routed out all of the spots where the frame is going to go in because I just think it's going to give it a much stronger bond when I go to glue this together, and it's also going to be a lot easier indexing all of these parts when I do so. So let me show you how it looks. The parts of the frame slot in here nicely, so gluing it is going to be easy, and then the sled or slide or whatever you call it will just fit nicely in between. There we go. I'm liking the look of this a whole lot more. I'll probably just spray this MDF base. I haven't decided on a color yet, but probably black. So we're almost in the home stretch. It's time to start wrapping this thing up. Okay, there we go guys, it's done, and I think it turned out really well. Now I could have had this project finished a lot quicker than what I did if I hadn't decided to put in the little bit of extra effort to make it look really special. All of these brass plates that I made, totally unnecessary, but I think they turned out really nice. Now as for the function, it is a bit hit and miss at the moment. Most of the time I'm getting a pretty good launch, but I think that is kind of dependent on the projectile that I'm using as well as its weight. I do also think that this little pouch that I made might be cupping the projectiles a little bit too much, holding onto it a little bit too long, flinging it down into the ground. So I may cut a new one of these and change the shape up a little bit. Now the plan was to take this thing out to an open field with my kids and have some fun trying to launch some projectiles at targets and so on. But it's been a 2-week project already, and I know this video is getting pretty long. It's Friday afternoon. I've got a couple of things that I need to get done today, as well as the rest of the weekend, and I really want to get this project finished. So if that is something that you would like to see, I can most definitely do a separate video on testing out the trebuchet. Just let me know down in the comments and I'll make it happen. So with all that said, thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give me a thumbs up. If you have any questions or comments about what I did and how I went about building this, go ahead and drop them down below. And as always, till next time, keep making stuff.